Hey, you are on a channel Real Estate 101 with OLENA SOBKOVYCH, and today's topic is property inspection. Our guest today is James from Kangaroo Home Inspections. Hi James.
How are you?
Thank you so much for coming today.
You're welcome.
Please introduce yourself.
My name's James Groom. I am the owner of Kangaroo Home Inspections. I'm originally from Australia. I migrated to Canada in 2019 and I've been running my company since.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know that our channel is educational channel for the newcomers. We know that design, construction and architecture of properties here in Canada are absolutely different from the ones we have back at home.
Yep.
And for our guys who are coming here and buying their properties, it's very important to know what they are buying and what they should expect.
Yes, definitely.
So one of the conditions for purchasing a property is a technical inspection. What are we doing there?
So with the home inspection, we're checking the exterior of the property. We're ensuring everything on the outside facade of the property is good. So we're going from lot grading around the property. Is it going to cause issues of water getting in the basement? We're checking the outside siding. Is it going to keep water out of the property? Obviously Canada, snow, we've got a lot of problems with water.
Yeah.
So we're checking the roof. And once we've done that, we're going into the house and we're starting to inspect from the basement all the way to the attic. And while we're doing that, we're running water. We're checking all of the outlets, all of the windows, basically just looking for defects, I should say, in the house. We're checking all the appliances, we're running the furnace, we're testing just to make sure that when you buy this home, you're not buying a problem. Everything's covered. So the way we do that, I start on the outside of the property. I spend about 45 minutes just inspecting the outside before anyone gets there. I put a drone up, I look at the roof. I normally walk the roof as well, but the drone is just good because I can get more vantage points than I can, obviously with my eyes. Then when we get inside, we go to the basement. I run some tests on all the equipment from the furnace, the hot water, depending on what's there. I walk through the house, I check everything from the electrical outlets to the electrical panel. I go through the house, working my way up, running water, and I get into the attic and I crawl around and I check to make sure there's going to be no other issues up there like attic rain or anything that's going to cause any future issues. After I've done that, I'll come back through the property with a thermal camera. So the thermal camera is a good tool because it can find missing insulation, it can find any water leaks that we have. And I'll go through the whole property testing with that, and where needed, we use our moisture meters to confirm leaks and all of that, and if needed, mold testing as well. We do offer add-ons as well with sewer scope if needed. So in older communities, sometimes I would recommend to my clients, hey, in this area with the trees, we might want to add a sewer scope on, or they might have a wood burning fireplace, but every single house is different. So we just tell the client what's needed.
Do technically everything?
Everything to do with a home inspection I can do, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if my clients come with me for the home inspection, can they be present at the home inspection?
100%. Like a lot of inspectors in Calgary don't allow that, but I encourage it. I want you there, I want you walking around, and I want you asking me questions.
This is what we want. We want to ask lots of questions.
Ask me questions. Like I want you there. I want you to know what you're buying. I want you to understand also how to maintain this home. It's going to be a lot different to what you've maintained before, and there's things that you need to do to protect your investment. So if you buy a house here and you don't look after it, you're going to end up with expensive problems. So I try to educate my clients, hey, this is what needs to be done. We need to do this maintenance every 3 months or 4 months, depending on what it is, or else we might run into issues with that piece of equipment. So I really do encourage you to come. If for some reason an out-of-town buyer, they can't come, I offer to come back for free when they take possession of the house.
Wow. And
show them how to do their maintenance on the utility room.
Nice. Do they receive any kind of report right after the inspection?
Yep, so within 2 hours of completion of the inspection, you'll get a written report, it's actually an online report, but it can both be PDF, it can be printed into PDF, but it's also can be just completely viewed online. It'll give you the entire body of the report. But it'll also give you a breakdown just of my recommendations. If you don't want to read the whole 97 pages, you can literally see just in one little summary section all of the issues that I found and all the recommendations on how to repair those issues so that you keep protecting your asset. I've never had a home inspection with nothing, so always expect there to be things. Every home will have issues. It's not to be scared of. We just need to know how to repair them, how to take care of them.
Exactly, and need at least to know how much will it cost us to repair it, and can we talk to the sellers about the problems with the house, right?
So
Go ahead.
So with my report, there's actually a section that you can go into, which is a credit repair list builder. So when you're doing that negotiation stage, I obviously find all of the issues, and if I'm asked, I will say roughly what I think it'll cost. I'm actually not allowed to give quotes by Service Alberta, but I can say, hey, I estimate roughly this is what it's been costing to replace a hot water system, as my best guess. And there's a section in my report that you can go credit repair. You can select the defect and just write in the amount and the reasons why you want to get that amount, and you can just send that section to the sellers. That way you don't have to give them the whole report, so they don't have to see it all, because that belongs to you and as the client. You only have to send them the issues you want to negotiate. And it's a quite cool tool. Absolutely.
How long does it usually take to do the home inspection?
So between 2.5 and 3 hours for a standard home. Depending on square footage, as they get bigger and they go up, it can take up to 4 hours on a very, like a 4,000 square foot home. If it's just a condo, an hour, hour and 15, it will be done. On a smaller townhouse, we're looking at the more than 2 hour mark to 2:15, but it just depends on how much the client wants to engage and ask questions. The more we're talking, the slower the inspection goes, but that's fine, I don't mind. I allocate enough time to talk and do the inspection, because I want that engagement. I want them to understand, what they're getting themselves into with the home.
Would you recommend people buying apartments to do home inspection as well?
Always. Condos, and it's somewhere out of 2 in 10 condos that I inspect will have loose wiring at some point in the condo. And I don't know the reason why, but we have had condo building recently just burned down in Mackenzie Town.
Scary.
Don't know the reason why, but it could have been loose wiring, don't know. But I would really encourage and would like everyone to do home inspections so that we can, if there is issues in these condo buildings, we can get on top of them and repair them. But yeah, I've come across some condos that have had some pretty big mold issues that, can get quite expensive. So even though it might feel like they're small and you can do it yourself, if you don't know what you're looking for, you might not, know what you're buying.
How much does it usually cost to do home inspection?
So depending on the size of the home, the condos start at $275. They normally don't go too much higher, only if it's one of these penthouses downtown. So it's normally $275. With a townhouse and a duplex, they're $425 plus GST. And with a detached home, they start at $475. They're normally around that price point unless they have a wet bar, wet kitchen, or the square footage goes very large. But from time to time I have promos running. I do right now until the end of August. I have a $50 off summer promo.
Wonderful.
Because I'm trying to encourage people to stop going unconditional and get these inspections.
This is the problem of today's market, unfortunately.
It is.
But this money is nothing comparing to what you can get with the problems after you're getting your home.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's worth it, especially when you're able to just explain people what to do and how to look after their home.
Yep. So for an example of that, I did an inspection in Lethbridge about 3 weeks ago. And the issues tallied up were around $85,000. Now the home they were buying was around $320,000. Now it was actually a Ukrainian family that was buying it, and they really loved the property, but they don't have any funds to repair it.
Absolutely.
So it went back. The biggest issue there was the sewer. The sewer line was $45,000 by itself. They did a lot of negotiating, and the seller came and fixed the sewer, replaced the whole line, and they did a lot of the repairs that they weren't going to be able to do themselves. Some of the things that they can fix themselves, they took on board, but they at least knew what they were getting themselves into, and if it had stayed at that $80,000 mark, they were going to have a very terrible time.
They are educated. It's very important.
It's very important. So and it's not the first time I've come across $40,000, $50,000 issues. So for $475, you can maybe avoid yourself a very large, hit to your finances.
Okay, what kind of other problems you can get into which can be repaired actually?
Other issues, there's plenty of stuff that we find from day to day, from the attic rain issues in attics to loose wiring in outlets, appliances not working but could be repaired. We come across all sorts of things like lack of maintenance on furnaces that we could, just get on top of, and maybe a small tune-up to stop that furnace from, failing prematurely. There could be anything from small leaks that we find that, if not fixed now, which anyone could probably fix very easily, but they don't know it's there, it can then become a very big issue with mold, drywall issues.
Mold, it's a very big problem over here.
Yep, and a lot of the leaks we get here are hidden in the walls. So we also have a lot of issues with lot grading, where just the lot grading is sloping towards the house. Now in Calgary, when we have snow and it defrosts, all concrete foundations crack at some stage. So if we have water sitting against the side of a concrete foundation, it will find its way in. So it's very important to educate the client that every few years, even if it is good right now, we need to be inspecting our property, walking around, checking the siding for damage, because we might have had hail come through.
Yep.
We might have had any damage, but we've also might have lost some of the grading. And now, instead of sloping away and getting rid of the water, it's coming back towards the house. Another big issue we have is during the winter, everyone puts up their downspouts, and because they don't want to trip over them when they're in the snow, then they don't put them back down when it defrosts. So all that water pours beside the foundation, and
we get it into the basement
and we get all sorts of issues with that. So it's very important with the inspection to educate that, hey, we got to keep, even though it's good today, we need to keep on top of your maintenance and looking after your home for this to last a long time. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, so the main word over here is education.
It is.
You have to know everything about what you're buying, about your property. It's your investment.
It's your biggest investment for your life, so you got to look after it. And it's also climate. The climate's very different here, especially for me. I'm from Australia. I never saw snow until I moved to Canada. So we don't have to turn off our taps outside. So during the winter, our taps are on because it only gets to 6 degrees. Here, if we don't turn off the taps, they freeze, they break.
Yep.
So it's very important educating the client and showing them where and how to isolate the water, how to drain the water lines, and tell them basically everything they need to do to look after this house in this climate. Humidity is another big thing here. Obviously, humidity in Australia is very high. Humidity in the home in Calgary can be a problem when it comes to attic rain, especially if the air sealing is not good on the top floor, or there's any issues with the bathroom fans or hot lights. We do have an issue in this climate where the water does get in the attic and freezes and then causes attic rain. So it's making sure that you're not going to have any issues, or if you are, letting you know what we need to do to fix it so that it doesn't become a big problem. So yeah, that's my job.
Correct. I know that recently we are talking about radon gas in Calgary. Yep. What can you tell us about that?
So radon gas is obviously a gas that it's natural in the soil in some areas of Calgary. Over time, being exposed to it, it can cause lung cancer.
It's a dangerous thing.
It is a dangerous thing, and it can be in any basement, but it's more prone to undeveloped basements because we're exposed to the subsoil underneath the foundation. So it's important when I do the inspection. Radon can't just be, it can be tested with a tester, but it obviously fluctuates through winter, through changes in temperature. So we might test right now, no radon. Another month, a little bit of radon gas. So there are tests we can do that are a lot longer and over a long time period. They recommend around 6 months. So when you first move in, it's about educating the client what test to do to leave this, it's like a hockey puck in their basement, and then after 6 months we send it off to the lab, and then we can actually see from that how much radon was naturally occurring in the soil and if there's an issue there. Now if there is an issue, we can do radon mitigation, which is a fan which is sucking that radon out and throwing it into the atmosphere above the house, and it disperses it down to a level which is safe.
So the most important thing, don't neglect it. Just keep that in mind. Ventilate, just air your home. It's very important. And if you have any suspicion that there is a high level of radon, just deal with it.
Definitely. It's always recommended in my report that when you first move in, before moving anyone into the basement, to do the testing. I live in a basement myself. I did the testing and there was nothing. And a lot of houses in Calgary, there's nothing. But I have come across high readings. It just depends on where the house is. Is it naturally occurring in that soil at the time? So it's just something that I'll say that, you do it once, then you know what it is. So it will definitely always be a recommendation.
Are there any specific areas in Calgary where radon is higher or lower, or it just depends?
It just depends. I've seen some in the southeast in some pockets, but then I've seen it all the way in the northeast. There's not a particular street. You can have this house has it, the next house doesn't. It also depends on the fill, how much they were, digging, what they were doing. Did they disturb a lot of stuff when they put that foundation in? There's a lot of factors to take in, but it's not super common. It's not in like every second home. It's very, very few homes have it, but it is still important to test.
Yeah, and definitely if you are approaching it correctly, it's not a problem at all.
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Another question. New builds, they usually come with their own warranty.
They do.
But we all know that the way they're building right now, it's not the way that we desire, right?
Yes, correct.
So are you doing home inspection for new builds, and what are the common problems you're getting in those inspections?
It's been pretty bad, new builds recently. Sometimes I'm finding more issues in new builds than I'm actually finding in some of these older homes.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
It is terrible. The quality of the builds, I'm not going to name any builders for liability purposes. They tend to try and sue us if we mention their name, but it's very important if you're buying a new build that you research the companies yourself, you look into them, you read the reviews. There are a lot of good home builders in Calgary, but there are a lot of bad ones as well, or ones that just aren't up to what I would call scratch. Now, the problems we find can be anything. I've gone to new builds where they don't even have insulation in the attic. They've somehow been passed. They're missing backflow valves.
But City does the inspections right after them. How come? You don't have the answer.
I can only guess because I've had, obviously when we do the report, we get the arguments from both sides. We get that, but the builder will tell us, but it passed the city inspection. So then we have to go and find the codes to say, well, it's not the code. So I don't know how it passed the city inspection, but it's not right and it needs to be fixed. And my guess is the city inspector sometimes, not all the time, is maybe sitting in his car, filling out the report, not checking everything he's supposed to check. It just comes down to who was on that day. Is he a good inspector? Is he not? But we're definitely finding a lot of issues.
Can we come back to the builder and ask them to fix all those problems?
With my clients and with good quality builders, every time they get a report, and as long as it's within the 12-month period that we do the inspection, they go back to the builder and they get the builder to rectify, especially if they're legitimate reasons.
Right.
Then they go back, hey, this is not right. Even if it goes past the 12 months, as long as it was recorded on my inspection report at the time that it was not fixed, the builder still has to fix it. If it goes past the 1-year warranty, the builder no longer involved. It has to go to an ALBERTA program, new home warranty program. And from what I've heard from people who have tried with that, they are not very successful once it gets to that stage. You're better off getting the inspection. So I either tell people you either get the inspection when you first move in, or you get the inspection at the 11-month mark after living there at the anniversary, so that you can get all of the defects of the home listed before the 12-month warranty is over. And that way you've got...
It's, by the way, very good idea.
It is.
It's even better than to do before you buy the house,
I think so too, because the house has been lived in. We can look at a house, do an inspection, and it looks like it's coping fine because there's no one there. Then all of a sudden we add humidity, we add people showering, we add all these issues. And now we've got some of the more issues that come with living in the home, which are harder to pick up if it's just a brand new vacant home. Most importantly to me is the 11-month warranty inspection on a new build. Because you could even live there and find some of the issues yourself. Because you'll be like, oh, this is not working, that's not working. You know, you don't need an inspector for that.
But you need a confirmation that this is definitely a problem and the builder can deal with that.
Yes.
And they're actually responsible for dealing with that.
They do. They in the first year, it's a year warranty on a lot of things. There's a few other things that like framing and structure, they have longer warranties, but majority of things, and that's why attic rain is such a big issue in Calgary. We come back to that because they give you a 1-year warranty, and normally it takes longer than 1 year for the stains to show up on your ceiling. So not many people climb in their attic. So by the time we get to that stage, it's already too late. The warranty's gone, and it could be anywhere from a $1,000 repair to a $10,000 repair, depending on the severity.
It can be very costly.
It can be very costly. So, you know, for a $475 warranty inspection, I think it's super important.
Absolutely.
You know, and depending on what, we do offer other services as well. With a lot of builders, they will paint and fix any scratches at the 12-month mark. So we do offer like a green tape service as well for an additional fee, where we will mark every single defect, every single mark in the home, so that you don't have to. And yeah, we use a lot of tape, and that way when the builder comes, he goes, holy, they've got to fix all of these issues. Not all builders do offer that service, but a lot of good ones do. So do your research. Very important to pick a good builder.
Right. Okay, thank you. And we bought a house, we made the inspection, we're happy buyers. And in a month, something happened with my dishwasher.
Okay.
Do you have any warranty for your home inspection? Is it covered somehow? How can we deal with that?
So I do have some coverage for appliances. Obviously, only some of the kitchen appliances, not the furnaces. I looked to try and get it. Obviously, the bigger, more expensive items like furnaces, boilers, and that, it's very hard to get insurance. If anyone knows of any, let me know. I don't. But if it comes down to a dishwasher, all that sort of stuff, I do have warranty for that. I do participate in a buyback program for those items, and I will replace them. Most of the time, I can fix things myself. So
that's so nice.
I've never had an issue where I haven't been able to fix. I had a small issue on a furnace once that I just went around at 9 o'clock at night and repaired myself. Turned out that my client had tried to change the thermostat and wired it wrong and blew the fuse, so it wasn't me, but still, I try to support my clients as best I can. Even though it was his mistake, I still went out. I didn't want them to freeze at -30 in the middle of the night. So
what you're saying that if we made home inspection with you and something happened, we can just contact you, right?
Always contact me.
When we moved in, and you will help.
I 100% will help. I love to support my clients. This is what I love doing. So, and I'm pretty handy. So I can do a lot of stuff.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it a big difference in construction in Australia and here in Canada?
There is similarities, but we do use obviously different construction, because we are in a, you call them hurricanes, we call them cyclones. Our construction has to be a little bit different because of the severity of our storms. Around Sydney, we get a lot of thunderstorms. Here, you just get a little bit of wind and a bit of hail.
We have hail.
Our houses are constructed a little bit more sturdier, I feel. But we also don't have any basements, because our frost line is above ground level. Or just below. Your frost line's a lot lower, so we have to dig down the foundation to the level of the frost line. So construction here, no basements in Australia, basically. All basements here.
But you like basements here?
I do. Basements are cool. It's a cool idea. It's a lot of wasted space. I prefer bungalows. In Australia, we have bungalows where everything is on the same level. So, you know, I like the bungalow style here because I'm used to just everything being on one level. I don't like having to go upstairs to do laundry. Stairs are definitely a challenge here, but
yeah, for us, basements are new stuff as well.
Yep,
we don't have that in Ukraine, but here it's very, very useful.
It's a useful space. It's if it's hot in the summer and you don't have AC, it's always nice to go down into the basement. It's a lot cooler than the rest of the house. So,
and it's lots of storage space.
Oh, so much storage space. Somewhere to throw the kids when they're being too noisy and shut the door.
This is another way.
But yeah, there's definitely uses for the basement. I actually like it. It's a place to put all of your appliances, utility room. It's, you know, everything is in one place. So if you want to do maintenance, it's all there. I think it's a great idea. And, you know, in Australia, they should do it. It's a lot of wasted space not having a basement. Yeah.
Exactly. Good. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing so much important and useful information with us today. And please share the information, how people can find you. How can they ask you questions if they have?
They can either reach me on my phone number, which is 403-992-0193. I have my email, james@kangaroohomeinspections.com. Or you can go to my Instagram. I'm Inspector James YYC. Follow me on there, message me on there. I'm also just recently started a TikTok. It's also Inspector James YYC. I'm trying to not be lazy and do more videos, so hopefully you'll see more content soon. But yeah, that's the goal. But contact me anytime, any more questions, I'm happy to answer. Yeah, reach out.
Thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.